Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. We recently joined as a member, and you can too. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And don't forget don't laugh. And don't forget to mention Forgotten Cinema when you sign up for Podgo today. Right now. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Season 5 begins!
Nice. The season of the audience. This is going to be a good one. Because this is not a forgotten gem.
Today we are doing Mike Field's favorite movie.
No, that's incorrect. How do you let some guy talk to you like that?
You never once did I smile. Never once did I laugh. While I watched this movie with my mouth agape, I could actually feel my soul leave my body. Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. As you may know already, each episode we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it's because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. But this season, we're not picking the movies. You, the audience, have selected our films. We're going to discuss what we love, like, or maybe not like about your movie. But we thank you for sharing your passion for the film. And as always, we recommend that everyone revisits the movie we're talking about this week. You never know. You could discover your own forgotten gem.
Grocery store clerk Simon occasionally sells drugs from his cash register at work.
If you enjoy our podcast, please.
All right, do it again.
If you enjoy
No. You got to do it all the way from the top.
All right.
You don't have to. I'm just kidding. Guys.
If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to let everyone know by rating, reviewing, and subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Grocery store clerk Simon occasionally sells drugs from his cash register at work. So when soap opera actors Adam and Zach come looking for ecstasy on a quiet Christmas Eve, they are surprised to find Ronna covering his shift. Desperate for money, Ronna decides to become an impromptu drug dealer, unaware that Adam and Zach are secretly working for obsessed narcotics officer Burke. This is the movie. Go. All right, nice. What are you looking at me like that for?
That synopsis got a blue.
It did. It's not. The synopsis is completely not. It stinks. It's crap. So go. I guess I don't know. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go into the facts. We can talk about what happens in the movie, but that synopsis is not good. Just give you a heads up right there because it completely dismisses one of the vignettes in the movie. Go came out in April 9th, 1999. The magic year of great films, right, Butler?
That's right. This is smack dab in the middle of it.
I sent a tone there. Go is 102 minutes. It's rated R. Had a production budget of $20 million, which is surprising because I would think it would have less. It felt like such an indie type of film.
They messed up a lot of cars.
Maybe, yeah. Opening weekend, it made $4 million. Domestic, $16 million, and then worldwide, $28 million. So obviously, not a big hit. It's a cult classic, but it's not a financial success. And it's actually a critical.
Made it money.
It had a lot of critical acclaim as well. A lot of critics like this movie. Sorry.
Okay.
Again, sensing a tone there, production company was Banner Entertainment and Saratoga Entertainment, distributed by Columbia Pictures. So this came out on the 9th of April. It came out up against Never Been Kissed, the Drew Barrymore romantic comedy where she goes undercover in a high school and then hooks up with one of the teachers. Also, I like Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed is not bad.
It's not. And then the Twin Dragons. I can't remember. Is that a Jackie Chan movie? It might be. I'm not sure. I thought it was. Anyways, the week before, on April 2nd, you had the Out of Towners. That was the Goldie Hawn, Stephen Martin movie. Mm-hmm. Cookie's Fortune and Following in a limited release. And the reason why I have Following there is that is whose first movie?
Christopher Nolan.
Correct. And that was before anyone knew who Christopher Nolan was.
That's a good movie.
It is a very good movie. Yes. It's very indie, but it's very good.
Yes.
The week after April 9th, April 16th, you had Life. That is the Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy movie. And Goodbye Lover. In a limited release, you had Friends and Lovers, SLC Punk, and Hideous Kinky. So you actually don't have a lot of. I mean, Out of Towners is a big film because you have Martin and Goldie Hawn in there, and Cookie's Fortune had Glenn Close. So you had some kind of content and competition. Wow, I can't
surprised
remember.
Life came out in '99. I feel like Life came out after that.
A lot of stuff
Surprised
came
it was
out.
that long ago.
A lot of stuff came out. It's funny because everyone talks about how '99 is like the big year of movies. They just talk about it was the magic era of film, and like none of these movies are ever mentioned in any of that. Okay, regardless, this movie was directed by Doug Liman, and he is obviously from Swingers, Edge of Tomorrow, and The Bourne Identity. Written by John August. He has done Big Fish, the Charlie's Angels movies, those 2 movies with Drew Barrymore. He did more recently did the Aladdin movie, the remake, and he also wrote and directed a movie called The Nine, starring Ryan Reynolds, which I don't know if you've never seen that. It's actually not that bad.
Which one is that one?
That's the one. It's Ryan Reynolds. It takes place in LA, and Melissa McCarthy. It's like different stories that kind of interconnect. It's a little nonlinear.
Is it the one where he's got like that sim diamond over his head in some of the promos?
I don't remember. No. But anyways, It's not that bad. I remember liking it. 2 composers who had BT. I don't know who that is. He's done the Fast and the Furious. What's funny is that it was like the Fast and the Furious. And I was like sitting there going, which one was that? Because they're all named that. He's done The Core and Blade 2. And then you had Moby stepping in. The only other movies really that I could really put Moby were Southland Tales and The Saint, but he's obviously done a bunch of shorts, and he's more known as a musical artist. So
the end credits of every Bourne movie that has happened.
True, correct.
But Doug Liman. I wonder if that's why Doug Liman put him in Bourne. Doug
Liman was also the camera operator here, so he's also a cinematographer. So he was doing double duty here. He has done that as well in movies that he's directed in terms of Swingers and Fair Game, which was the Valerie Plame movie with Natalie. I'm blanking on her name. Married to Liev Schreiber, where she was.
I know Natalie Wood.
No.
Natalie Portman.
No.
Natalie Morales.
I don't even know who I'm talking about. That is that her name?
I'm at a Natalie's. I don't know who Liev Schreiber is married to.
Really? Not anymore. I think they're divorced. Like that matters. Like I should really be worried about that.
We got to know our celebrity goss. Come on.
Not Natalie, Naomi Watts. My God. No, you know what I've noticed is that you don't cut out my blur by my mistakes. You know that
when they're funny, I don't cut them out.
You don't.
And I don't. I cut when I make
but you cut out all yours.
When I make mistakes, I keep them.
You cut out a lot of yours.
My mistakes are quiet. I go, shit, I messed up, and I just look for it. You make a big how to do about it. I'm like,
because I think you're going to cut them out. This is not.
You have made this an uncuttable bit now.
Damn it. Anyways. Fair Game starting Naomi Watts. And I don't know where. Oh, because Doug Liman did the photography for that. Produced by Matt Freeman and Mickey Liddell and Paul Rosenberg. Freeman has done Murder.com and Shelter. Liddell more recently did Judy, The Miracle Season, and Anthropoid. And Paul Rosenberg had the last one he had was The Addams Family. Edited by Stephen Mirione. He has won an Oscar for Traffic, for editing Traffic. He also was nominated for an Oscar for Babel and The Revenant. He's also done Suburbicon and Birdman. So obviously he's done a lot of...
Suburbicon is the Coen brothers one?
Suburbicon is, they wrote it. They did not direct it. I believe Clooney directed that.
Oh, okay.
I believe. So we have a big cast here. Katie Holmes plays Claire. She is, if you know her, she's Joey Porter from Dawson's Creek. That's where she first made her bones. She was in Batman Begins, Pieces of April. Sarah Polley as Ronna. She is from the Dawn of the Dead remake. She's also in The Sweet Hereafter. And she was nominated for Academy Award in Writing for Away From Her. Desmond Askew is Simon Baines. The only reason I have his last name there, I'm going to get to it. He's from The Hills of Eyes. He was in the new, when was the Roswell TV show? The first one.
The first Roswell TV show was probably...
Was it in 2000?
Probably in the 2000s. Yeah.
Okay, so he was, it looked like he was in a season of that.
Okay.
Nathan Bexton as Manny from Nowhere, the Greg Araki film, The In Crowd, and Psycho Beach Party. Scott Wolf as Adam. Scott Wolf is obviously famous from Party of Five, a TV show. He was also in Double Dragon, White Squall. And he's also, more recently, I don't know if he's the dad or not, but he's in the new Nancy Drew show that's on WB.
Oh, I don't think that's come out yet.
Oh, really?
I think it's supposed to come out. If it has come out, I missed it.
It's been out.
Okay.
He's listed as there's like 30 episodes.
Oh, then maybe it's out. I'm totally blank.
Well, you're not cool anymore. You don't know the hip WB stuff or CW. UPN or whatever it is called.
Everything's all Riverdale now.
Jay Moore as Zach. That. Jay Moore from Jerry Maguire, Suicide Kings, and Mafia with an exclamation point. Timothy Olyphant as Todd Gaines. And the reason, so they have a character, Todd Gaines, and they have another character named Simon Baines. You think that was like a mistake?
Baines and Gaines?
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't know.
Olyphant's from the Deadwood TV show Justified as well on TV, The Girl Next Door, and he's in the upcoming Fargo season that's coming
he's
up.
going to be in this.
Yes. William Fichtner as Burke from Crash, Armageddon, Black Hawk Down, and more recently he's been on the TV show Mom. Taye Diggs as Marcus. Now, Taye Diggs had a big year in 1999 because not only did this movie come out, but The Best Man, House on Haunted Hill, and The Woods. We had 4 films that came out in this year. He's also from Chicago. Rent, he was in the play as well. Or the Broadway musical, excuse me. And he was also in the sequel for Best Man Holiday, and The Way of the Gun, which I like The Way of the Gun, and we should do that. I know we keep saying that, but we don't have it on the list. Breckenmeyer as Tiny from Road Trip, Clueless, the Garfield movies, and the TV show Franklin and Bash. James Duvall as Singe from ID4. He was Randy Quaid's son in that movie. Gone in 60 Seconds and Donnie Darko. And then you had Jane Krakowski as Irene from she's in the TV show Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, 30 Rock, Alan McBeal, and then Melissa McCarthy. This is actually her first movie.
Oh, is it her first movie?
Yeah. I forgot she was in it. When she pops up, I'm like, hey, I forgot she's in that. Yeah, exactly. All right, so before we get into Go, this was recommended to us and suggested to us, obviously, because we are in season 5 of Audience Choice, by Andrew Morgan. He's our friend from the Nomcast. And before we go on and go into everything that we liked or maybe didn't like about this movie, Andrew's going to let us know why he chose this movie. And I guess, I don't know. So Andrew, take it away.
Hey, Forgotten Mics. Hey, everyone. This is Andrew Morgan, the host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. And I am delighted that the Mics took me up on one of my several suggestions, as I am a relentless pest, and put the 1999 indie crime dramedy Go on their list to discuss this season. I like Go for a few reasons, but the main overriding reason is the director, Doug Liman. Simply put, Doug Liman is the man. He makes wildly entertaining films that engage audiences. He moves his stories along at a frenetic pace. He makes movies pop off the screen. For anyone who has seen The Bourne Identity, The Edge of Tomorrow, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In this movie, Go catches Liman coming off an indie hit with one of my all-time favorite films, Swingers, and right before he becomes a bigger name with Bourne Identity. And weirdly, this film has elements of both of those other films while not being as successful. It has the pop dialogue, party backdrop, and indie spirit of Swingers, while also having the faster pace, intensity, and car chase action like Bourne. Another way it's like Swingers is one of the best things about the film, the soundtrack. It's super 90s with some fun classics to really punch up a scene. I mean, it has one of my favorite No Doubt songs, which was made specifically for the film. It has Fatboy Slim, Eagle Eye Cherry, Len Steal My Sunshine. Okay, that maybe not be a selling point. And it also has, obviously, the signature rave music, which was so big at the time. It also has a remix version of Magic Carpet Ride to kick in the Las Vegas car chase scene. The soundtrack is absolutely awesome. And the cast is also supremely 90s, with young actors like Katie Holmes and Scott Wolf, who were very popular on TV at the time. But it also has actors who I still really like to see to this day, like Timothy Olyphant or Jane Krakowski or a young Melissa McCarthy's here. So why is this movie forgotten? Well, like I said, for Liman, it's his sandwich film between two of his signature films, Swingers and Bourne Identity. And he still makes hit films to this day. So this movie can be easily overlooked when you look at his body of work. And also, this movie came out in 1999, one of the best movie years, especially in the last 30 years. And this movie came out at a really tough time. It came out the weekend after The Matrix and 10 Things I Hate About You. And it went head to head with Drew Barrymore's Never Been Kissed on the weekend it was released. So it's easy to see why it was swallowed up, especially when you consider a lot of those films were also aimed at high school and college age kids. So bottom line, while there are things in this movie that should have stayed forgotten, like Breckin Meyer's character Tiny appropriating black culture in all the wrong ways, yes, even that way, this movie has a lot of things we all want. An entertaining film with catchy music, good acting from beautiful young people, and a pretty cool car chase on the Vegas Strip. All of those things are the reasons why I would say give this one a go. Oh, God, I hate myself. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I good stuff. I think I might have watched this movie with Andrew, but I don't remember.
Maybe he let you know.
Maybe he did, and I'm sure he told everyone about the Nomcast and how he does his own podcast, and we have been on there several times. So thanks, Andrew. So now let me get into what we thought about it. All right, so Butler didn't like this movie.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't like it.
Well, let me go back to, we had talked about the synopsis, how it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is 3 small short stories. Is Ronna, is not
Ronna,
Simon, and then Zach and Adam.
Zach and Adam.
And they kind of wrap around the Ronna stuff, or the Ronna.
I think it's Ronna.
Ronna, whatever.
It's a weird name.
It is. They wrap it around with her storyline because, stuff happens to her at the end of hers, and then she comes in at the end.
They wrap around with the worst character, yes.
Well, originally, this movie was a short film that just had the Ronna stuff. That stuff was the short. And then he added the Simon going to Vegas, what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Zach and Adam stuff when, what they're trying to do. So when I watched it in 99, when I had first seen this, I actually liked this movie. I liked the soundtrack. This is back in 99.
It's a very 90. Yeah.
I like the soundtrack. Yeah. I like the movie. I was fine. I remember the big thing was that, like, because Katie Holmes had Dawson's Creek. It was just big. It was 98, I think. It was a big thing. And then she does this movie, and like she's smoking pot in this movie, and it was like, oh my god, Joey Porter smoking pot. Like that was like one of the things. So I enjoyed the movie, but watching it now, I still kind of like it, but there's a lot more stuff that popped out to me that I was just
good.
No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was like, oh my god, this is so fantastic. It's got, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm older now, so I don't know if, because some of the characters annoyed me, like Manny annoyed me, Simon annoyed me, like and even Ronna, Sarah Polley's
the only
character.
Fun character.
No, he annoyed me a little bit, and then even Sarah Polley's character Ronna, she's mean.
She's the worst. She deserved what she got and then some.
But she's mean to all her friends.
Yes.
And I don't. It was
she sucks.
and I was reading some stuff about this movie, and they were talking about how it's about kids being kids. Doug Liman actually has a comment in one of these retrospective things where he's talking about how it's about kids doing stupid kid things and getting away with it. But he was like sitting there going like, but when I look back, it's kind of like white privileged kids doing stupid things and getting away with it. And I'm like, yeah. So that being said, I don't know where you want to jump off and where you want to just go. Chronologically?
Yeah, let's go story by story, I guess.
The first story obviously begins, and I do like the line she gives that woman, even though that is mean, when she tells her, when she's bringing her out.
Well, look what happened.
Yeah. She's like, I used to be like you. Yeah, look how that turned out. It's like, that's where you're headed. The one note I have about Sarah Polley, because Sarah Polley is a very good actress.
Well, I like her a lot, yeah.
And she plays, but in this movie, I thought that especially, she plays disaffected, but in over her head, and she's doing it at both times. Like she's just like, I don't care, I don't give a shit about, do whatever I want, I don't give a shit about anybody else. I need to make some money. But then when she gets into the house with Burke and the cop, and she realizes it's the sting, she kind of, you can tell that facade is dropping. There was some more. I liked what she was doing.
I found her just disaffected throughout the whole thing. I thought she was way too clever for her own good. The only time that she feels over her head is when she gets to the bathroom. She plays it cool up to the bathroom, and then,
but that's what I'm talking about.
My pill. That's it. That's the one. And then she's back, and then she's selling Benadryl to people.
Which I don't understand that. If you're supposed, again, not to cut you off, but yes, if you're supposed to be smart, you don't think that the drug dealer is going to check the pills when you hand it back to him, that he's like, listen, they don't want him. Like, you think he's going to buy your story? No way. No way.
It's not this. He would be checking it before he even let her out the door.
Right.
And it's like, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. You're screwed. This guy's dangerous. You're doing it anyway. It's like, I'm sorry, but maybe we're short $300 for rent. Go back to work. She's dumb. She's idiotic. She's mean. She's terrible to her friends. She throws one of her friends in the garbage.
Oh, Manny.
It's just,
none
of them are relatable. They're not.
You can't relate to kids
stuff.
You can't relate.
They're not doing
kid
stuff.
You're younger than I am. You can't relate to being this type of kid, like just kind of doing stupid stuff. You didn't do stupid stuff when you were a kid, ever?
This is the thing. Ronna, when I watched Rona's story, I was like, I had read it was vignettes, and then I totally forgot about it. I'm like, this sucks. And then I went to the other stories, and I did lighten up to the movie, but then it circles back to Ronna again, and she sucks. She's the worst. She really dragged this movie down.
You're talking about her character, not Polley's
her character, her
performance.
whole story. Her whole story is unbelievable and dumb, and it's not just kids doing stupid stuff or young white privileged people doing young white privileged stuff. It's just she's a bitch.
Yes.
Doing bitch things.
Yes.
Sucking and getting what she deserved. And it's like, I don't feel sorry for her when she gets hit by the car at the end.
Right.
She totally screws over Simon. And I'm not saying her acting's not good. She doesn't play over her head good, because I never feel, even when he's got the gun on her, I never feel like I feel like even at her last moments, she feels like she's got a way out of this. She can figure it out.
I think she's flipping out when she's going to the bathroom at the house.
It's the only time when Todd is about to kill her for screwing him over. I feel like she thinks she has it in control, that she can still talk her way out of it.
But
I never feel like.
Do you really think he was going to kill her in that parking lot? Like, I didn't get that sense that he was that type of person.
No, I never got that sense that he was at that level.
Right.
He was just going to scare her.
Yeah, I didn't get that sense.
Which is why when she got hit, he was more just,
like, what are you doing? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, and I thought that was good.
It's not what it looks like, okay? I mean, it sort of is, actually, but it's complicated.
Not really.
I know I fucked up, okay? Please. I can make it up to you.
I'm the last fucking person you should be expecting a favor from.
I have the money. I have more than I owe you.
So now you're an entrepreneur.
It didn't make any sense that he was going to do that. And like, I'm trying to figure out, like, I liked Olyphant in this movie. And the only reason he got this movie is because he got fired from Practical Magic. He has a story that he talks, like 2 or 3 years ago. He tells a story on one of the talk shows. And he says that he got hired, and it was one of those Hollywood things where you get hired. And obviously, you probably either got hired to like entice somebody else kind of thing. Because then they hired Aidan Quinn. And he found out that Aidan Quinn was hired. And he was still hired, so he didn't realize. And then that day he found out he was fired. And then they got him on go and stuff like that. So I mean, it worked. Obviously, it worked out. But I mean, that's as Hollywood as it gets. So I like him in this movie, and he actually reminded me of his character in Scream 2, because he's bad in that one too. He's like the bad guy in that one. Yeah. He kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the same actor. But I didn't get the sense that he was somebody who was just going to off people. He's supposed to be a scary dude. Be scarier in The Girl Next Door than he is in this movie. And you know what I mean? He's always threatening to kill somebody, but in The Girl Next Door, he's beating the crap out of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
was he threatening to kill people? And other than the gun, other than threatening to kill Ronna, he doesn't really threaten to kill. But that's anybody. The thing. Like that's when you see him in the parking lot at the end of her vignette, which ends up being the end of the movie. If you're doing chronological, you know, the idea is that he's going to do something with her with that gun. Like, why pull it out? I think he would have scared her. Yeah. And then just taken the money. Yeah. Yeah. And then just like, don't come back to me again. Right. See, I didn't mind Ronna in her vignette. I didn't mind her. Who I did mind was Manny. Manny is annoying. Very annoying. And again, these are all 3 friends, and he screws her over by taking, I don't know, 3 pills or 2 pills. He takes the 2 pills because Todd said when he gave the pills to Ronna, this is medical grade ecstasy. It's not herbal stuff. You take 2 pills, you're going to the hospital. Yeah, and Manny didn't hear that, but she goes to go sell it, and he completely steals 2 of them. So she's going to get screwed. You're selling drugs to people. You don't screw them over. Right. So yeah, like, he screwed her friend over. Yeah. So in turn, she does the same thing. She hides him. I mean, she's trying to hide him because she's trying to get out of there. But she's like, I can't carry you. You know, go away. Go hide. I'll come back for you. And she forgets about him. Yeah, also, he's starting to hallucinate. Like, yeah. I've never taken ecstasy, but that's not what it does. He sees cats talking to him. He hallucinates. It's like shrooms. But then maybe I'm wrong. He's still got enough know-it-all dude when he sees Todd at the rave to go warn her. Like that scares him enough to kind of snap him out of it. Like when he's just sitting there, he's completely dazed and like, and then he sees him, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh my God. I mean, it's convenient. Yeah, it's definitely convenient. Never mind the fact that she trades Claire as collateral when she goes to make the deal. She trades her best friend to basically be what? Murdered or raped or whatever. Well, I think she didn't anticipate that to happen, but yeah, maybe. Come on, he's a But I wondered why Claire would be friends with these 2. Like, I wondered why she would be with them, because she doesn't seem like she's anything like them. She's probably, as much as I don't want to defend Ronna's story because it sucks. Not to say I don't like this movie, because I do like the next 2 vignettes. She's probably was friends with them when they were younger, kind of got dragged down to their level because she remained friends with them. Mm-hmm. doesn't necessarily participate in everything they do,
Right.
but enough to that she's kind of one of them.
Sure. The one thing I also say about Claire's character is that there's an inconsistency, and maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. But throughout her story, and whenever you see her, she's kind of annoyed. She's always just annoyed at Ronna. She's annoyed at Manny. She's just kind of going along, like you say.
Yep.
But then she has a moment where she because she starts off the story. It's her dialogue that starts off the entire story, and you don't know who she's talking to.
The Christmas present monologue.
Right. And she's like,
which is very indie. Like, let me give you a monologue.
right. And then, but that's at the end, because that's when she sees the drug dealer Todd, and they kind of connect. And then she makes out with him, and I don't understand that moment, because I don't get. She's never acted that way throughout the entire movie until that moment. And then, so if that's supposed to be something that's true to her and unreal, and then all the stuff that happens because Simon returns and she gets annoyed and she leaves, but we never go back to that. And even when Ronna at the end of the movie pops up and she's just staring at her, Claire's staring at her because she's like damaged and she's limping, and the look on Claire's face is like, what is wrong with you? And then she's like, where's Manny? And then like,
and we got to believe this is a few hours later when essentially Ronna was dead.
Right.
And now she can walk and limp, and she's barely like, she's got just a slight limp and a scratch on her head.
Right.
And
right.
there was a chunk of her scalp in a windshield in the third vignette, which we'll get to, but
yes, that's right. That's right.
Just the inconsistency. Although I don't necessarily not believe in Claire making out with Todd, because you know, although he was kind of like, do you want to fuck?
Who said that?
Tim Donovan, yeah.
And when they first sit down. Yeah.
He never did, and he never really hurt her, even though she was way over time and stuff like that. So that's why she's like, you know, I don't think you're as bad as people say. And then they have that long, we don't see what happened during that long breakfast diner, but it also goes along with her monologue of, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I get. Well,
you think something's gonna happen and it doesn't.
That breakfast diner is more known for his take on the family circus, which I agree. I hate the family circus.
The family circus is lame. I agree.
It's very bad. His whole spiel about the family circus is something that a lot of critics mentioned in their reviews, and a lot of people remember. But I've
never seen this movie before, and I know about that scene.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is the movie where that scene's.
So what do you have against the family circus?
Okay. You sit down and read your paper, and you're enjoying your entire 2-page comic spread, right? And then there's the family fucking circus, bottom right-hand corner, just waiting to suck. And that's the last thing you read, so it spoils everything you read before it.
You could just not read it.
I hate it, yet I'm uncontrollably drawn to it.
So let's go. Let's jump to the second vignette.
Thank God. All right.
So Simon and his buddies, which is Marcus, Singe, and Tiny, go off and they go to Vegas, and they have, you know, what always happens in movies and never happens in real life. You stumble into a three-way with two women.
It's the prequel to The Hangover.
Never happens. Not that me and you were out there looking for that to happen, but it never happens. It's always convenient.
I love that he wakes up in the trunk and it's just them messing with him.
Yeah.
You passed out the whole time, man.
Right. So let me tell you why I don't like Simon.
You can, they're all bad people, but
because that's the thing. Like you tell him not to do something, he just does it. He doesn't care. Like, you know, when they go to the strip club and no hands, and he causes the problem, and
his little scuzz bucket. Yeah.
Right. But he gets away with it because he just stumbles into good luck.
Mike, everyone gets away with everything, and they all deserve to die. They're all the worst. The actors are the least worst, and even they're bad. It's just, no one in here deserved to make it out of this movie alive, and yet somehow they all do.
I want to know, like, what Marcus, like, what training he has to be able to pull the weapon out and just fire willingly at the truck that's coming at them. Like, it's so like
at that point he's got no choice. Like, he doesn't do well.
What if he killed them?
The other guys were about to kill him.
They don't know that. They maybe were going to beat him up.
This is a ridiculous story. That's like The Hangover. I was okay with this story because it was dumb and ridiculous. You know, when Simon gets the two girls, and he's already British, but I love that he's already British, so he's already got an accent that he can use on women, but he chooses to use an Irish accent with women. I thought that was very, very interesting.
And that he can master tantric.
The tantric in like one, just knowing.
Yeah.
You didn't come? Tantric.
Tantra, baby. Yeah. Give me a break.
Well, I enjoyed that. It was dumb. It was over the top. And I was like, this is at least not Rona's story is so 90s.
So
independent,
is this? Okay.
Just garbage. This is, again, kids being kids. No one's fucking like that, man. It really, like, you're up to 1999. At this point, probably 95 to now, to then. This is all the stories you get is this Rona crap story. And it's just like unlikable people, uninteresting camera, uninteresting lighting, just okay, like a character that doesn't exist. Everybody sucks. It's just like, and throw in some 90s songs. I hated Rona's story so much that when I got to Simon's, I was like, at least this is fun. It's like a proto Hangover. It's super unbelievable, but it's not taking itself seriously.
Okay. I'm probably nitpicking the Simon stuff. I'm not
really, saying it's great.
Really bugged me because if he was a friend of mine, if I'm there with guys and Simon's a guy and a friend of mine and he's doing all this stuff that's getting like, dude, what are you doing? It would annoy me.
That is the one thing though. Like, obviously it's over the top, but everybody's got that one friend that like kind of ruins everything.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Maybe he's supposed to be like a heightened version of that.
True. Like you never really get the sense of the other two friends of Tiny and Singe because they have
because they ate the shrimp.
They ate the shrimp at the kai and they got sick.
Don't eat that shrimp. It's filled with iodine.
Yeah. And they had the runs or whatever. But like I did like the one Breckenmeyer's at the when Tiny is at the buffet and the woman's there and he's like, damn girl, you done?
She has to walk away.
Yeah, that made me laugh. That still made me laugh.
I like the line about in the elevator is like, did I tell you I liked your coat?
Oh, right. Like, and he's telling Marcus that. He's like, no, you didn't. He just starts laughing.
Yeah, he just laughs. Yeah,
exactly.
At least I don't look like I'm from Hawaii.
And there's two times where he's in the bathroom and somebody mistakes him for an attendant. And this is Marcus. And then they're outside the car. That's when they get their car and the guy throws him the keys. Like, keep it close by. And it's like, I wondered I think it was because his jacket was yellow, like the people that work there.
Oh yeah.
But I also think they were doing a racial thing there too, because Marcus is black and they're just obviously people's assumptions that he works there, which is
Southern asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Which, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not ridiculous in that no one believes that. I believe that would happen.
Although I will say that when he threw money, I still would have taken that money.
What money?
Because the Southern guy throws him the
he
tip
gave him
money.
$1. I would have taken
That's money
$1.
for the slots, man.
So that vignette ends. And then we go to the next one, which this is the only one, the Zach and Andy stuff, which doesn't fit with. I view this movie as there's three main characters: Claire, Ronna, and Simon.
Okay.
Would you agree with that? Claire doesn't get anything. Claire gets nothing. Claire just kind of gets scraps of Ronna stuff. You see her at the end. She has the tag in the beginning of the movie that we talked about, the little monologue.
I would say it's almost like 4 stories because I would say Claire is the main character in the second half of Rona's story.
Claire's us, right? Claire's the audience, kind of watching, outside watching in kind of thing. No, I just like the Zach and Andy stuff are just, it doesn't feel connected in any way except that Ronna appears in there. You know what I mean?
Sounds like you have problems with that movie.
No,
Do you not like this movie?
No. I just, in terms of the stories being connected, I didn't feel like Zach and, I keep saying Andy, Zach and Adam stuff was together.
I mean, they match up with Ronna 3 times. I think it matches. I mean, it's a different kind
like
of story.
ships passing in the night, but Simon is her friend, and then you see Simon.
Is Simon really her friend,
well,
or is Simon just
Simon's
the guy that get drugs from?
Simon's her coworker.
Wants her to blow him. Like,
yeah, I guess. I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't know. I felt like I enjoyed the story, so I like Fichtner. I like Jay Moore. Scott Wolf was good, so
yeah.
like I liked their story, and they have some good lines, and it's funny stuff. Jane Krakowski is good in it.
Oh, I forgot she was in it. Yeah, she pops up. So
do you guys ever? Is it a real kiss? Only if it's tongue. You see, that was tongue.
Did you? Because you hadn't seen it before. I already knew what he was trying to push them, the Confederated product stuff. Yeah. Did you get that in the beginning, or did you think that he wanted to have like some kind of sexual encounter with them?
At first, I was like, okay, he wants to have sex with them, and then he mentioned his wife, and they were over, and I was like, okay, maybe it's supposed to be
some kind of group thing. Yeah.
And then when he was like, smell this cologne, and then he was on the mattress, I was like, oh no, this is not what's. I don't know exactly what's happening, but it's not what I thought was happening. But you do see some William Fichtner penis in this. I know.
You do?
Yeah, you do.
Where?
When he's putting his underwear on, his legs shift, and it's right there.
Well, clearly I wasn't looking for that. All right, Butler.
I'm secure. I was like, are they going to do it? How rated R does this get? Oh, this gets very rated
Did you
R.
pause it and like rewind
I
it?
did. I took the timestamp down. If anyone
We used to have back, not like a legit list, like we wrote it down, but we used to have this like unofficial list of penises we used to see on screen. Like, so like when we were watching movies, I'm talking like me and my buddies, and be like, and it would just be so like the Kevin Bacon and Wild Things.
Yep.
Everyone watched Wild Things. Wild Things was 97, 96. It was after Scream, right? Because Nev Campbell's in that.
Nev Campbell was
97, 98. It was around, maybe it was definitely in the 90s.
Mhm.
And that was with Denise Richards and Nev Campbell. And the big thing was that they make out. And like obviously every guy was like, oh my, that was
Gotta
why
watch this.
that was why you wanted to watch Wild Things.
The
And
poster with the wet Nev Campbell
that,
on the
and they even did a sequel to this movie, but it was with other people. But regardless, but like there's just this like out of nowhere Kevin Bacon full frontal nudity, and it's like you don't expect it because you're there for one thing to watch this movie, and then all of a sudden he turns and is like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "What the no?" And like it's just come on.
Listen, tit for tat.
No, I get that. I think that's I think that's funny, and I thought it was funny because that's not why all these guys are in this movie. And then they just do that, and it's just like, eat it, you know, like just kind of like it's funny. It made me laugh, but it was just so random. And then there's like and then when you're watching other movies, it just because there's not a lot of full frontal male nudity for obviously chauvinistic reasons. But like and like Dewey Cox Walk Hard when he's doing the phone call and they have that like that stuff. So, but anyways, we used to like joke around like, oh, there we go. Mark it down. But I never caught that in this one.
Pop star. Never stop popping against the window. Sign
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah. But I never caught the Figner one and go. I don't know if I'll go back and look, but I never caught that.
It's real quick, but it's there.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you picked
Thanks,
up on
man.
it. Good for you. So you just liked kind of the storyline.
I enjoyed that you don't know what Fichtner's about, and then turns out you don't really know Zach and Adam's story. Like Zach and Adam's story kind of comes to light in terms of like, oh, I have a girlfriend. It's cheating on my girlfriend. No, they're actually gay, and no,
Right.
they're not cheating on a different partner. They're cheating on each other.
Did you realize that they were a couple?
Not at first.
Okay. When did you figure that out?
When Katie Holmes basically says,
Oh,
gay
right.
couples or something.
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
they're not. Oh, maybe they are.
Okay. All
But no,
right.
I didn't. Because at first I just thought that Scott Wolf's character Adam was sleeping with Zach's girlfriend
Okay. All right.
because he was like, "Oh, you saw something."
Well, then they did a good job of kind of like tricking you there.
right. Do you
Yeah.
remember being tricked when you saw it? Or do you remember?
I can't, honestly,
so
it's been
long
so
ago.
long
Yeah.
ago. I don't remember. I
I some of their
probably
dialogue.
was the same way when you were.
I like the way they handle finding out. They're both.
Oh, when they're in the line. And
What's
they-
it? Oh man, he just gives really great head. And he's like, "What? He was awful. He was the worst." At one point, I actually had to grab him by the ears and I retrained him from the throat up. When was that? It was around October. It was after October that he got better.
That's funny. And everything it's funny because they use the rave as like where everyone goes, like that's like the big thing, but they don't really not really at the rave that much, you know.
They aren't, and they never do. Which I mean, it is cliche, but if this movie is going to be cliche,
Mhm.
then they might as well do that. Like at one point, they all kind of are in the same shot together.
Yes.
And they never do that, which is cool because that is cliche. But again, on the other hand, so much of this movie is cliche
Yeah.
that just do it. Because even if it's cliche, I always like that.
Oh, I hear you.
So I'm
like
like,
you want to have that.
Like they do a line where they say the title of the movie too.
They say go.
When Simon's having sex in the second video, they're like, "Did you go yet?" And I was like,
Why would you say that? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So did you know that Christina Ricci was going to play Ronna and then she dropped out? Would you have preferred that?
I think Christina Ricci's really hot, so yeah.
But that's not why you would. And
But
is
she
that
can
really a reason why you should say that you would prefer that? Maybe because she's a good actress, Butler?
no, because Rona's character sucks, so it doesn't matter. I don't care how good you are. You cannot play that character well. It's just written well.
Well, she plays
does
Wednesday
play-
Addams well when
she does. She's disaffected.
yeah.
But again, Wednesday Adam, that's not a real character. It's a
Mhm.
cartoon character in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's her only emotion. That's fine.
Mhm.
Rona's supposed to be a human being that we're supposed to believe.
Mhm.
We're supposed to somewhat latch onto, and you can't. And it's not the problem with the actor portraying the character. It's a problem with the character and the writing in itself.
One of the not that I'm not listening to you, I was. One of the I was still thinking about William Fichtner's penis. One of the things in this movie that maybe affected why it didn't do well, I mean, I honestly don't know why it didn't perform well here. I would think this movie would have done well in the theaters, but regardless, that its foreign financing fell through because the quote was that there was no bankable white male star to sell overseas, basically. And then Columbia stepped in and finished funding the movie, which I guess, I mean, when you're thinking about money and how to make money, yes, that's kind of something that comes up. And then I started thinking about it, like, well, there really, I guess there isn't, because Simon is your other lead, quote unquote. I mean, this is really Sarah Polley, and I mean, she's on the poster. It's really her. You know, you can have.
It's definitely her. If you have to pick a main character, it's her. She bookends the movie,
right?
So, yeah,
right. So then Simon would be your second guy, and he really isn't somebody that, because he's not known. He's not a name back then. I mean, even when I saw this back then, I knew who Timothy Olyphant was.
I'm surprised you don't put Scott Wolf on the front, though.
I knew, but Scott Wolf is not. He's not a main. You probably tried to pitch Scott. Well, we got Scott Wolf from Party of Five.
Yeah. Who cares who you put on the poster?
Right.
You can put her.
Say Jay Moore.
You can like, hey.
Yeah, because Jay Moore had done Jerry Maguire at this point. So you could say, hey, we got Jay Moore.
What was Jay Moore's show?
That was I don't know. I don't remember when the Jay Moore show was, but it was around. It might have been around that time, because this was 96. It was Jerry Maguire was his first movie. So it could have been before that or after it. I mean, I could look it up if you want.
It doesn't matter. I still think you put Scott Wolf on the poster next to Sarah Polley. And it's like, hey, we got these people.
I wouldn't have been surprised if there were mock-ups and they were like, this is what the posters look like. This is what
it's like when we did King Creole and the posters have the banana lady on it. And it's like, she's a nobody, but she's in that, skin tight, sexy banana dress.
Right.
Put her next to Elvis, even though they don't really share the scene together.
Well, in the poster for the movie in itself, you have Sarah Polley in the front. You actually have Timothy Olyphant in the back with the gun, like he's like crouched, and then you have Katie Holmes doing this pose that I can only describe it as a 90s disaffected, what are you looking at pose.
Yeah.
So I guess they tried to push Olyphant as the bankable white star, but he's the bad guy, so you can't really do that. Or he's not he's an anti-hero or whatever. He's not a good guy. Although he is, it's funny at the end when they're trying to shoot Simon's arm and he's like washing, and the guy, I can't do it. He's like, oh, come on.
The gun goes off. Oh, I'm fine.
And it would have been good to see him working with them. When at the end of the movie, when Ronna comes back and she's like, and Claire's like, where's Manny? Mm-hmm. It would have been good to have Simon there with the cast or something, kind of in the arm of the sling, but whatever. So this movie was shot for 25 straight days from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. It was an all-night shoot.
I was thinking that because the grocery store is definitely like you're shooting at the grocery store at night, closing it down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I guess technically they probably did the stuff in the morning when they were clocking out, because in the beginning of the movie, he's trying to get her to work, and it's obviously day.
Yeah.
So obviously that was sometime in the morning. But yeah, no, can you imagine just because you're like a vampire at this point on day 24 in this movie. You're just you've opened up a whole new world.
I'm surprised they actually shot on the strip. That surprised me.
They were able to. They probably running a gun in it. If Doug Liman's directing and doing photography, it's probably just kind of like running a gun. Let's go. You know, it's probably a lot of that stuff. And it felt like that stuff because a lot of the stuff when they're in the car, and I put this down here, in the beginning, it was shot like askew, and it felt like he was shooting it like a rave, kind of like when they're in the car in the beginning, and she's trying to convince them to sell the drugs is what they're going to do. And it was like, it was like all, and it almost felt like he was shooting it like he was in a rave, or he probably was just kind of shooting it like, let's just get it, boom, boom, let's go real quick, and it had that feel. And then it kind of, the rest of the movie's handheld, I think. So it's not really, there's nothing camera oriented in the movie that kind of like Bourne or something like that, and the Bourne Identity, where it's more noticeable. Although I prefer the other Bournes in terms of camera work with Paul Greengrass.
In Identity, it's all Steadicam for the most part.
Right. Yeah. This one just felt like it felt indie, which surprised me at a $20 million budget, that this felt more like an independent film that should have been would be at a $5 million budget. You know what I mean?
How much?
It's probably actor salaries.
Night shoot. Scott Wolf, Katie Holmes.
Night shoot stuff.
how much does it cost to film on the strip in Las Vegas?
True.
The cars that they destroy, although they're not great cars. Oh, the truck is a nice looking truck.
When they're getting chased by the truck on the strip, they pass a parked police car at one point. You see it. I'm just like, but I see the car.
When I didn't notice that, I was like, where are the fucking cops?
Yeah, and then they pull up. Yeah, but I know they were blocking everyone from so they could do the scene. But I noticed that, like, you just went past a parked police car, man. Come on. But whatever. It's probably just, for the movie. Get it done. Yeah, I mean, so you like everything but the Ronna stuff.
I'm okay with everything but the Ronna. I'm not saying that this is. I'll say this: I would not have chosen this movie
in terms of for us. Forgotten. I never thought it was forgotten.
I think I have no idea what the hell this movie is, but maybe I think it is forgotten. But I don't think it's great. I don't think it brings anything to the table that other cliched 90s disaffected. I like white privileged kids as his description of the movie.
Well, it is.
I don't think there's anything. When I saw Doug Liman, I didn't notice that Doug Liman directed it until I put the movie and I started watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, okay. Doug Liman directed this. I like Doug Liman.
Doug Liman directed. John August wrote it. Those are two big names.
So I was like, oh, okay. And I like Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to give this a chance. And you were like, oh, it's good. And then I'm watching the beginning and all of Ronna stuff is just like, seen it before, seen it before, seen it before, seen it before. These characters are unlikable. And then she got hit and I'm like, got what she deserved.
Well, maybe if you were in your, because this movie was 99. So Morgan is probably a teenager at this point, or 19, 18, 20. So
right. He
can relate to it. That I'm talking about Andrew Morgan, who recommended that he can relate to this movie probably a little bit more. I was 24 when this movie came out. So when I'm watching it, I'm obviously younger too. So I think watching it back then, this is one of these movies where back then I had a different reaction to this movie, whereas I am now at 45. There's some stuff in here that maybe the kid stuff doesn't hold up. The stupid stuff doesn't hold up to me.
It's so stupid. It's unbelievably stupid to the point where it's like,
but I don't want to discount that, because then what I'm doing what every other older person does is, oh, you're just a kid, don't be stupid. But you did stupid stuff when you were a kid. Now, granted, we didn't do this much stupid stuff.
It's an
I wasn't firing
gun.
But I went to Vegas, and I really didn't do that much dumb stuff when I went to Vegas. No. I mean, I wasn't looking for strip clubs and stuff like that. I wasn't doing any of that.
And when the bouncer tells you not to touch, you didn't spank it with both hands, waiting to get broken up.
Well, that's the one thing with
stealing
Simon.
Cars and taking drugs.
Well, that's the one thing with Simon. Pistols. When they go into the club, and Marcus tells them, "Don't order champagne. We cannot afford it. We cannot afford going. Don't order." And he does. And it's just like, I thought you can't afford it,
because his character just gives into his vices, his basic urges. That's his thing.
And are we to assume that he stole the credit card?
No, I think that at first I was like, oh, he stole it, and then when he's talking to Simon, I'm like, and then later on with Simon, I'm like, you know what? Simon probably did give him the card just to get the discount.
You mean Todd gave Simon the card?
Todd gave Simon the card just to
but
get
it's
the
a
discount.
credit card.
But it gets him that discount. He still said, oh, we'll pay with cash. We just get the.
But he uses the card at the. Oh, okay.
But no, at the point when they go to the strip club, then he's screwing Todd over.
Right. Okay.
Which is probably why Todd was like, oh yeah, here's his address. Go ahead.
You want it? Now there's traffic, or no, he's like, there's construction over this. You might want to
go in the back roads. Why don't you just take him over there to kill him yourself? So one of the things that bothered me about Simon's story is, so Simon recommended that they go to this club because Todd told him about it. And on the phone, Simon's like, what was the name of this club? Blah, blah, blah. The strip club they go to. It's like, okay, let me write this down. Okay, oh yeah, that's the name of it. But then they get there with Marcus, and all of a sudden Marcus just knows about the club anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Well, maybe he just knows about clubs. This was Simon's first time in Vegas.
So every club's got the don't buy the champagne.
That's pretty much standard, I would assume. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been to one in my entire lifetime. And the only time I went into there was because we had to go in there because we were all together, me and my friends, and the other friend wanted to make out with this other girl. And he's like, oh, just go make out with the car, go do something. And I'm like, well, so we ended up going to some stupid strip club, which was ridiculous. So he could make it out with this girl. And then 2 minutes later, he walks in and I'm like, well, what's going on? Oh yeah, she's just kind of boring. I'm like, what? So anyway, so I'm not experienced in all that stuff. I'm sorry. I apologize. I wish I could be more deviant. I watched movies basically because I'm a big nerd, apparently.
Yeah.
So I've told. I'm not as much of a nerd as you. I at least have that, right? All right. So I still like that. I mean, because this movie has been on. I've seen it on HBO or Stars or whatever. So I've seen it already like I had seen it before 99. I mean, excuse me, after 99. Not a movie I forgot about. But I never really watched it again. So I will say that I'm glad that I could revisit it. I still enjoy some of the stuff. I agree with you about a lot of the points you made. I understand why I'm sure Morgan had some really good points why he liked it. And I still kind of like this movie. I don't hate it. I don't have as much vitriol on it as you do.
Listen, it ended up being an okay movie.
But I agree with you. She's not nice. She's not a nice character to her friends, but the movie's telling you, yeah, but they're friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just having a tough time trying to figure out why it's forgotten, because I don't
think it's forgotten. I don't
know why other than like it was an audience choice. I can't tell you why it's forgotten, because I don't think it needs, or why it deserves a second chance, maybe because I don't know if it does.
Well, I don't think
that's my thing. It's like,
well, this movie is for a younger audience. It's about kids doing stupid stuff. But kids now are not going to relate to something that kids did back in the 90s, because that's a different time.
I also don't think that kids did this back in the 90s. I think this is just too extreme.
Not the kids that we care, not the kids I hung out with, apparently.
I also think that in terms of it being forgotten, it's very much like many other indie movies of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't watch it then and you watch it now, again, like I'm watching it now, I'm not saying the movies that came after it were just like this. The movies that came out during this time were a lot like this. And so it just kind of becomes another VHS on the pile of 90s indie teen VHSs.
Well, it's definitely, that was one of the notes that I had read, that when it first came out, people considered it to just be another 90s film, another film that we've already seen this movie. But then as time went on, it became a cult classic because people really enjoyed a lot of it, like the writing and the directing style. So it kind of moved ahead of that.
That's fine. I just can't find anything that really differentiates it, sticks it out above the rest in terms of that. It's kind of like, especially Ronna stuff, it's like trying to be Requiem for a Dream light. Like, I think, like if it went that way, it would be maybe more a little like depressing and maybe a bleaker world, and I would have enjoyed it more. Although also not enjoyed it more because it made me feel like crap, like Requiem for a Dream does. But
no, please, Requiem for a Dream is a rough, different experience. Yes. Yeah, exactly. All right, so thanks, Andrew, for suggesting it. Thanks for sharing. I'm sorry that Butler's a jerk, and he was more concerned about Fincher's penis than anything.
So if you fast forward and grab a pause to 1 hour 42, and then you really pause, go a couple of frames.
Nice. So we're obviously coming towards the end of our audience choice season. Next week will be our, I can never say this word right, penultimate.
I thought it was just penultimate.
Is it penultimate? Okay, penultimate episode. We are going to be doing the movie Juice, the 1992 movie Juice, starring Tupac Shakur and Omar Epps. That was suggested to us by Mr. Butler's friend, Aaron Singleton.
Correct, yes.
Fan of the show, I believe, right?
No? I hope he responds to some of the posts we post. I hope he watches them. I know he listens to Two Player Bros.
Why not us?
He probably does.
Man, all right. So we'll be back next week with Juice. And do you have anything to add before I sign off here?
You can find us.
I guess that.
Yes. If you enjoy our podcast, you can find us on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com, where you can find all of our episodes from our audience choice season. As Mike said, we're almost done with it.
We are.
But we also have 4 seasons of other content as well that you can go back and check out. We do some great stuff, I think.
So we do some great stuff.
Go back and listen to those. If you're coming in from the Nomcast, welcome to a new podcast as well.
How you doing? None of these are on Netflix. I apologize.
Very few. You can also find our merch store from there, and you can find us on social media at Forgotten Cinema Pod. Find us on Instagram, Twitter. We put out really funny commercials every week. We think they're funny, but we're
seriously, that's a little pompous right there.
That's we're very pompous people. I mean, this is our audience choice season, but it's not to say we were not going to still take audience choices. We always take suggestions. Shoot us an email or comment on our social media posts. Let us know what you guys want us to watch, and we'll put it on the list. We got a long list, but we'll get to it.
Make sure it's got plenty of penis in there for Butler so you can check it out.
Absolutely. I'll tell you those frames. And if you like our podcast, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening.
Right. Thanks again. We'll be back with Juice next week. As always, thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
You got some X-Men? I want to take 2 and talk to cats.
I'm going to take 3. Ugh, Manny. Yeah, we didn't even talk about him that much.
They do whippets in the back.
I couldn't stand that stupid Macarena thing he was doing too.
The dance, the stupid dance.
I didn't like Manny. He really bugged me, and he's like that one friend who just like, just go away. There's no redeeming quality to you.
You told me this movie would be good.